If you own a landscaping business and you're trying to generate more leads for free, I'm going to show you exactly what I did to grow my business in the first year. If you don't know me, my name is Mario Flores and I started a landscaping business back in 2017 and I generated $250,000 within my first year, and I'm going to show you the 5 techniques that I used to achieve this. If you've seen any of my content in the past, you're going to realize that I used to email a lot of property management companies with a letter to introduce myself to try and get on a vendor's list. The problem with this method is that email gets a very low open rate. On a good day, you get about a 30% open rate, and a lot of these emails end up going to spam. And with this new method, I was able to achieve a 98% open rate. The way that I was able to achieve this was through text messaging. Now you might be wondering how I was able to get all the cell phone numbers of real estate agents and property managers in the area. And it's actually quite easy. I would just go over to Craigslist.com and I would just go to the homes listed for sale. And here you're gonna find listings all over your area of real estate agents who are selling homes. And a lot of these people who are selling homes are actually property management companies. And it's actually quite easy. Once you're on Craigslist, all you have to do is navigate over to real estate for sale, find a listing for a home. So now you're gonna have the direct contact information of this real estate agent as well as their name. All you have to do is click on reply at the top or show more contact info down here at the bottom. Now you can send that message that I've given you over at landscapingmoney.com. All you do is copy and paste and make sure that you address them by their name. That way it feels a little bit more personal. And as a pro tip, remember all the real estate agents in the city typically have other contacts, people they work with, other realtors, sometimes property management companies even. So it's really good to build relationships with real estate agents and property managers. If you don't already have my free letter, you can head over to landscapingmoney.com, scroll halfway down the page to the section that says free letter, enter in your information, and I'll send you this letter for free. I'll either text the letter to you or email it to you. Once you have my free marketing letter, just take 40 minutes out of your day texting as many of these real estate agents in your area as possible, and you're gonna see an increase in business. And this doesn't just stop at real estate agents and property managers. You can do the same thing for those listings that say we buy houses for cash. If you ever see a sign on the side of the road that says we flip houses, we buy houses for cash, make sure you reach out to these people as well. You can also find these listings on Craigslist and you're gonna wanna approach them the exact same way. Send in a letter introducing yourself, because a lot of these houses that they buy are in distress and they need to have a makeover done in order to be able to sell. This is a good way to stay consistent in your winter months, as these house flippers sometimes flip dozens or hundreds of houses per year. Now this next method of getting free leads was actually doing the same thing, but contacting something called a trustee. A trustee is a court-appointed lawyer who actually is in charge of people when they reach an age where they're not able to manage their own assets. And so typically what ends up happening is somebody comes in, like this trustee, takes over the entire estate, takes over all the finances of this person, and needs to list the home for sale, and then to get that person transferred to an adult home care facility, for example. And this actually led to some of our biggest jobs to date, was working with people who are trustees. Typically these people who are managing these properties do not care about price. They just want to be able to get everything done, and they're using the money of the person that hired them, okay? And typically with these homes, you're gonna find the same type of situation as house flippers. It's typically a hoarder home that has been distressed, neglected typically, and you're gonna find that it's usually a really big, large cleanup or transformation, meaning they're a high ticket item in order to be listed for sale. And what's great about working with trustees, they always pay on time, they're not picky about the price, and they typically give you consistent work. As they're getting clients, you're getting clients as well. So building a strong relationship with trustees is really important. So what you want to do is just find these trustees on Google, get in contact with them, and make sure you get on their vendors list. But like always, send them the free letter explaining who you are and how you can help them and bring them value. This 4th method is Facebook groups. If you're not a part of Facebook groups, you're really missing out on a lot of your target audience. So if you've never used Facebook to join groups and become a part of your community, I'm gonna show you exactly how to do this. Go over to facebook.com, type in the city that you live in, and you're gonna see groups come up in the results. Sometimes these groups, depending on where you live, if it's a larger area, you're gonna have groups that have 30,000, 40,000 people in them. And what you wanna do is you wanna become a part of these groups. Once you become a part of these groups, you're gonna wanna make consistent posts depending on their guidelines. Sometimes their guidelines will say, you know what, please do not spam the group with a bunch of posts for your business. Limit it to 1 to 2 times a week. Whatever it is, make sure you follow their guidelines and make posts that are engaging. Typically with me, I used to like to make posts of before and after transformations of a job or a project, and this really just created a wow factor for people to comment and ask, what a quote is for a specific job, how they can work with you, whatever it is. But striking interest from the get-go is really important. Don't just post a picture of a lawn, for example, or a picture of equipment. Do something where it creates that wow factor, or do some sort of video. So do some sort of video, you explaining who you are, your business, how you're locally owned, and what things you can help them with. Once you've created enough of these posts in the group, what will end up happening is you're gonna build brand awareness after some time. Then when somebody posts to the group that says, we need landscaping services, who do you recommend? You're gonna be the guy or the company that they end up recommending. I used to use these groups to generate between $10,000 and $15,000 a week in brush clearing jobs. Here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of blackberry bush issues and overgrown blackberry bushes, and a lot of people don't want to deal with it. And here's an image of what I used to post in these groups to generate these types of leads for me. The fifth and the last way that I have for you to generate more free leads for your business is through something called Google My Business. A lot of you guys I know may already have a profile created, but some of you guys may not, and you're missing out on these extra leads. Now, the way that Google My Business works is you register with them for free. They don't charge you a dime. And what they end up doing is they end up displaying your listing on Google when somebody types in, for example, landscaping services near me or landscaping services and then a city. The way that it classifies where you should show up in the map is going to be based off of a few things. The first thing it'll base it off of is your location. So if somebody looks up for landscaping services near me and you registered your business a block away from them, you will show up before everybody else. If somebody looks for landscaping services near me and they are 30 to 40 miles away from you, you're not going to show up in the first place on the map pack. They're going to show a business that is closer to that specific person. So it's important when you register these businesses to take account what address you're using, because typically you're going to be ranking for a 5-mile radius of the address you use to register the business. Now, sometimes you can boost how well you rank outside that 5-mile radius if you do something called SEO. And that is a service that you can utilize. It has a lot to do with the website you're making and how you created the website, if it's optimized for keywords. And I have an entire video that explains SEO. I'll have it linked here. You can go check that out. And if you need any further assistance with SEO, that's a service that we offer, as well as website creation. And if that's something you're looking for, you can always visit landscapingmoney.com. The second factor to ranking your Google My Business is the name that you choose for the company. It's really important that you use a business name that actually matches with the service that you're providing, right? So for example, if I were to start a new landscaping company, I'd call it like either the name of the city and then landscaping services, or something like Flores Landscaping Services, Flores Retaining Walls if that's what I offer, Flores Sod Installation if that's what I offer. Basically, what will happen is if you give it a more specific name, you will show up for that specific keyword much higher than the competitors will. Take that into consideration when registering with Google My Business, the name that you're giving the Google My Business, the address that you're actually setting up with the Google My Business, and then third of all is the business category. If you are a landscaping service that also offers hardscaping services, really take that into account, because whatever your primary service category is, that is what you're going to rank for. For example, if you set up a landscaping company and you want more fence leads, then you would want to be classified as a fencing contractor, fence installation company, whatever the primary service category is for a fencing company. Now, if you just want to focus on lawn care, then you would want to register as a lawn care provider instead of a landscaping company. So really take that into account when setting this up, because that's what's going to go a long way when you rank on Google. Now, if you're interested in website creation or any of these things that I mentioned with SEO and ranking better on Google, you can always reach me at 971-381-7416 or visit landscapingmoney.com. If any of this information was helpful, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any other questions, leave them down below, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.